spark this conversation. But before we do that, let me introduce Gideon. Gideon, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And maybe just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Gideon Mburu, and I'm a farmer. I'm an exporter. We export fresh fruits and vegetables from here in Kenya to Europe market, Middle East, and other African countries.
So, Gideon, when we say contractual farming, what do we mean? What does that mean exactly?
Contractual farming is actually just a contract or an agreement between a farmer and a buyer, or a grower and a buyer. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So if I want to be, if I'm a farmer and I want to be contracted to produce maybe French beans for you for export, what is the procedure?
Okay, first there's what we call farmers recruitment. Mm-hmm. And what we normally do is that from our regions where we do farming, that is in Machakos County, in Makueni County, Kajiado County, and Embu counties, we have technical advisors on the ground. Now these technical advisors on the ground are the same guys now who recruit farmers. We do scouting first, because first we must, there are some other things you normally look at. You know, like if you have enough land to do the French beans farming, do you have enough water to make sure that when the hot season comes, because French beans are good in hot areas, and mostly what we do is irrigation. We have to check on water and land. Then from there, after they finish the scouting, we will engage now from the TA, who is the technical advisor on the ground. You'll be able to engage now the agronomist to come and verify if the report on the ground is okay. Mm-hmm. Then from there, we'll have now a meeting between now the agronomist, the farmer, and the TA. And then we seal the deal. But now this deal is now sealed between our exporter, a farmer, and a HCD officer. The government is involved in contractual farming. Mm-hmm. You cannot do without the HCD officers on the ground, that is Horticultural Crops Directorate officers, who are in almost in all counties where we do horticulture farming in Kenya. Okay. So the HCD officers comes as a witness between the farmer and the buyer who's an exporter, that I have sealed this deal between these two guys, and that's where it starts. Okay. Yes.
Okay, that is interesting. As Louis Farm, what do you grow, and what other crops either you contract other farmers to produce for you that you export?
Okay, what we normally do is that we have export market and the local market. Okay. For the export market, we do French beans, we do snow peas, we do sugar snaps, we do baby corns, and garden peas. Then on side of fruits, we do mangoes, we do avocados, what else? And passion fruits. Okay. Yes. So for local market, we do mostly sweet corns.
For the local market?
For the local market.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting, because I've never had a sweet corn on my table. So who is this market you're targeting locally?
Actually, locally we do, our biggest market for the local market is Naivas supermarket. Mm-hmm. And we have been supplying since 2017. And actually, we started with small volumes, and nowadays they are consuming huge volumes in these supermarkets. Mm-hmm. We are now we are 3 suppliers. So the level of consumption has gone high. Okay. And we are hoping for the local market will increase for sweet corn consumption. Yes. Still with beans, a lot of local market for beans. We are huge supplier of French beans in the chain, supermarket chain.
Okay.
Yes.
And for the produce that you export, tell us what goes to what country, and how much do you produce for those countries?
Okay, our export market is almost 95% is on vegetables. And when I say 95%, 95% is almost French beans, which goes to the Europe market. And our major market is French market, where we have 3 categories of French beans. which is extra fine beans, which is purely for French market. Then we have super fine, which goes to Holland and other countries, Belgium. Then we have fine beans, which goes to UK market. Actually, almost 99% of Europe or UK market consumes fine beans. But on our case, as we do extra fine bean pure,
That's
only
for
for the French market, which
Okay.
absorbs almost 95% of what we grow from our farmers.
So that is how many tons per week or per day?
Currently, we are doing, from our farmers, we are doing 12 to 15 tons a week, because we normally harvest 3 times a week. Yes, and consumption has gone down because we are doing net of 3.2 tons a week, which is quite low for now.
Okay.
Yes.
How many farmers are those that you've contracted?
Oh, there are many. We are the 3 counties in Makueni where you have small-scale farmers, and that is our powerhouse. Our stronghold is in Makueni County, because there are small-scale farmers who always do like 1, 2, 3 kilos, and there are many. We have like, our total is almost 200, 220 from the 3 to 4 counties. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to, or let's go first to, what are the disadvantages for me as a farmer having been contracted? Or what are the disadvantages of being a contractual farmer?
Okay, I think for me is disadvantages sometimes they're minimal, because let's look at the advantages, because that's why you see, as the government, as the Horticultural Crops Directorate came in to enforce, making sure that all farmers, as long as you are doing horticulture for export, you must contract to these farmers. And for a farmer, being a contracted farmer, as now, when you, maybe, let's say I contract you today, anything you grow, I take for my market. The moment you pen that signature, your market guaranteed. And that's why we are doing 12, 15 tons a week. My net market, we only need 7 to 8 tons a week. What do I do with the rest? So as a farmer, you're advantaged. You're always advantaged. And that's why I always insist to all my interviews and here and there, it's like, make sure anything you're doing as a farmer, have that paper. You know, your market guaranteed with that paper. But we must have the 3 signatures on board, because if we do me and you without the government officer, then you are in for it. You lose at the end of the day. You will lose.
So we need to have an extra eye when signing this contract.
Yes.
And that is the government.
The government.
And is that in the law, or?
It is in the law.
Okay.
It is part of the requirements of contractual farming under HCD, Horticultural Crops Directorate. As a farmer and an exporter, the contract must be witnessed by the HCD. Anything outside, if anything goes wrong, you cannot go back to them. And you see, farmers are always advantaged when it comes to contractual farming. You know, I have to pay them. You know,
whether you
either
have a market or not.
Oh, yeah. And that's why you see, like, on our case, we are doing 12, 15 tons a week. You know, I have to take from them because we have this contract signed, you know. But nowadays, it's because of the COVID issues with our French market and the full lockdown, they're able to understand. But at the end of the day, I must make sure I keep this farmer, you know. So I go and pick the beans, I keep them in the cold room, I get the market, I lose the market. We have local market to consume, not that much. You know the case? We have cows and mbuzi to dispose.
So what happens when, what does it take for one to break a contract? Or when will you come and tell a farmer, I don't think we can keep this contract the way it is? Or how is it written on the contract itself?
It is written in the contract. We have farmers' obligations and exporters' obligations. And mostly, sana, you know, when a farmer is breaking the contract, it's because there's high demand of the product, you know.
So the farmer can also break the contract because he's getting a better
Yes, mostly farmers breach the contract.
Okay.
You know, sometimes it's on, but the higher percentage is that farmers will just go kando, because when the demand is high, the price for beans goes even to 250. You know, and you have a contract here which says it should be from 50 to 100. You know, with all these brokers here and there coming in and giving all this money, he'll just come for 2 weeks, and then he runs away. So at the end of the day, if such incidents comes in, that is where now we break the contract.
Okay. What are the consequences for a farmer who breaks the contract?
For this one, I will tell you that is the farmer. The government is always on the other side.
The farmer side?
Yes. That one I can guarantee you. But if it's on the other way around, it's tough and it's rough. Yes.
So most of the time the farmer gets away with it?
Yeah, most of the time farmers, if he does all those combo things, they get away with it. There's nothing you can do.
What happens if you break the contract?
If I don't collect those beans, you know, because they have this contract. Let me go back to the contract itself.
Okay.
We have 3 copies of this contract. Farmer has 1. The HCD, as the government institution, has 1. And then the company has 1. So there is no way out. And the contract goes 1 year, the government financial year, from June to June.
Okay.
So by the end of May, all the contracts expires. Then we go in. Before we sign these contracts again, the government, the HCD officers on the ground has to do farm inspections. So they know all these farmers. Like for me, for our case, all these farmers, the officers, they know all our farmers, wherever they are, because they have these contracts with them on the other side. So if something goes wrong, the farmer will just run to the office and it's like, okay, see here, huyu amefanya hii na hii na hii. Where's the evidence? So the officer on the ground will just, okay, I'll come to your farm tomorrow morning, to verify if the claims are true.
Okay. So before you sign a contract every 5th month of the year, you said the HCD officers goes to the farms.
Yes.
What are they going to look at?
Okay, mostly they do. We have there are those requirements that a farmer, you need to have a shed, you have a grading shed, you must have a chemical store.
Okay.
You must have enough knapsacks to do. We have what we call checklist, a farm checklist. They have to check each and every requirement that a farmer has to meet the standard to start all this. After now that checklist is where now the HCD officer will sign the contract after the farm visits, those inspections. They must check all that to make sure that you, as an exporter, you're okay with the farmer, and the farmer has all the required structures maybe in the farm. Yes, that is required, yes.
Earlier on, you raised the issue of COVID-19.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand how were you affected as an exporter and as a farmer when COVID-19 hit or landed in the country, and your major market, that is Europe, went on a lockdown, there were no flights. What happened during that time, and what happened to these contracts?
Okay, COVID has affected each and every corner of the world, and farmers mostly. And on our case, we feel the pressure from all corners. When COVID came, we had a lot of hopes that if because in Europe, there are more cases in Europe. Then the lockdown came. So on our side, we expected to have more markets opening, because now, the countries that are locked down, they need all this product on the other end. But it was vice versa. I have known most of my friends who are out of business today. us, we are lucky to be in business because depending on where we sell our product, we also sell in one of the best supermarket chain in France. And that's how we are able to be in business. Other distributors and wholesalers in Hange's market, they're out of market right now. And our projection plan of the market going up, actually it's almost 40% down. And that's why we're having all this oversupply from our farm, which we have no market to take to. Yes. So it has really affected us on our side. And most of for farmers, yes.
Okay.
They are feeling the pressure for the last 10 months right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's also the second wave of COVID
Yeah.
that we're experiencing now, and also being experienced in most parts of the world. Has it affected you as it had affected you the first time?
Okay, let me say it's on our case it's almost that's balanced. It's only that we are in high peak season because the market for Europe starts from September, the peak season, to December.
Because of winter?
Yes, because of winter. Now the second wave is here with almost total lockdown in France and in Germany and maybe partially I think in UK, I'm not sure. But now in our market, it's total lockdown. Our production from our planting program, we had expected to have huge volumes now, which are now currently in the cold room.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually the opposite. It's worse than the previous first wave in our case, yes.
So if I ask you, what lessons have you learned, especially from the first wave of COVID, that you think has prepared you for any eventualities in the future? And also, have you passed any of those things you've learned to your farmers?
Okay, I think I can assure you, I never saw this coming for the second wave. We were not ready for it, you know, because from we expected being the peak season for the market, with COVID or without, the volumes will go up. But that's not the case. The volume has gone down, you know.
Okay.
And our farmers, they were, okay, we had a series of meetings for the last 1 month. And I think almost 2 months. And we had prepared them for this, that if the market goes down, we'll take what we can, you know. So if it's not possible to take everything that you have harvested, then they have to bear with us.
Okay.
And they have been very, very understanding, actually. Yes.
Okay. That is good news. When we talk about demand for export markets, what does that mean?
Currently or?
Yeah, currently and after.
You know, there is one thing. Demand for export with Europe market is always there. And currently even the Kenyan market is expanding to Asian countries because the demand is there. Only that we need to produce more. And the good thing that the demand for Kenyan products is high is because of what produced here. I can guarantee you it's safe, it's high quality standard. And that's why in Kenya we are able to dominate the Europe markets. Our products are the most expensive at the end of the day because of the quality.
Okay. When you talk about the quality and safety of what we produce being the highest, what makes it? What makes whatever we produce of that good and high quality?
Okay, like for in our case, an exporter, we have a technical team that deals with the quality to make sure the food is safe. We have technical manager, then we have agronomist, then we have TAs, the technical advisors on the ground, and then we have sprayers. Farmers don't go to the farm to spray for their French beans. We have a group of sprayers who are well trained to do that, to make sure we are not overdosing our product. You know, that is our responsibility as a company. Then we have KEFIS, Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate, on the other side. KEFIS is there to make sure that anything we produce is safe. We have Horticultural Crops Directorate still on board. So for us to be able to make sure that what we produce is safe and is of a high quality, actually it's a partnership between the exporter and the government institutions, which are always on board. Yes, with us.
So is there a checklist maybe for farmers when they are producing these crops that they go through, so that at the end of the season or by the time they are harvesting, you come, or the inspectors come to the farm, they know this farmer followed every right procedure?
Yes, what we normally do is that we operate with quality manual system for food safety. We have records that we normally keep. Planting record, then we have spraying record, we have scouting record, we have spraying irrigation record, then we have harvesting record. When auditors come, maybe KEFIS inspectors or HCD officers on the ground, that is what they ask for. Let me see, farmer 0, 2, because what we do is our farmers are coded because of the traceability. Traceability system is key in food safety. So that is what they'll come for. They look for all those the records, how you are filed, the spraying, and they do random food safety audits, like for KEFIS. They do random. They can just pick you up any day, any time. We are doing this and this in your farm. So on our side, traceability is key, because for me to be able to make sure that what I produce is safe from here to Europe, I must have traceability system. That is what you are able to trace from the farmer or from the consumer back to the source. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Gideon. We'll take a short commercial break, but we'll be back shortly, and we'll continue with this conversation. For those of us who are joining us now, we are talking about contractual farming. We will be back shortly. Please don't change that dial.
Je, ungependa kujiajiri kupitia mbinu za kilimo zinazolenga kuongeza mapato huku utunzi wa mazingira ukizingatiwa? Katika jitihada za kushirikisha wakulima kwenye majadiliano kuhusiana na njia bora za kilimo, BioVision Africa Trust ikishirikiana na Radio Maisha inakuletea kipindi cha Kilimo Hai kila Alhamisi. Jiunge na Muzdala Faliaga kila Alhamisi akikuchambulia masuala muhimu kuhusu matumizi ya teknolojia ya kilimo endelevu katika uzalishaji. Tuma maoni yako kwa njia ya ujumbe mfupi kwenye nambari 0715422460. Sikiliza Kilimo Hai, changia maoni yako na pamoja tuboreshe kilimo.
There's an indescribable appreciation for the things that get taken from us, especially if we get to experience them again. In the face of COVID-19, the great outdoors were taken from us. We couldn't take trips across counties to our favorite spots, whether for luxury, a great time with the family, or any other reason for that matter. But with the Ministry of Health guidelines, guess what? We can do it all again. With Travelogue magazine, you can now get the latest news on the places to visit for getaways, fine dining locations, follow up on concerts, conservation projects and stay in the know with what's happening in the motoring industry. So, with Travelog, you have the best planner on your team. Better still, for updates on what's new in the meantime, between time, be sure to visit travelog.ke or check out our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram for a taste of what Kenya has to offer. Travelog, Jione Kenya.
Value your feedback and welcome any comments, queries or complaints regarding our programs. You can get in touch with us on SMS 22071. Call us on 0719 012 450. You can also send us a letter on our post office box 30080-00100 or deliver it to our offices at Standard Group Center, Mombasa Road, Nairobi.
Are you looking for a job? Or do you have a job opening and looking to hire? Well, look no further, because all thanks to the Standard Jobs, your search ends here. The Standard Jobs, the all-inclusive platform that helps bring together potential employees and employers, has a wide pool of talent and opportunities to pick from when it comes to finding what works for you. From blue to white-collar jobs, we've got them all. And that's not even the best part. For just 5 shillings per alert, we'll notify you of any opportunities coming your way, giving you the power to pick what works for you. Usiwachwe nyuma, grow with the Standard Jobs. Kazi sio kutafuta kazi. Visit jobs.standardmedia.co.ke and get hired today. For inquiries, call 0719012211 or email jobs@standardmedia.co.ke. The Standard Jobs. Find what works for you.
Welcome back to Agri Talk, and today on Agri Talk we are talking about contractual farming. And with me in studio is Gideon Mburu, the MD of Louis Farm Limited, who is also a farmer and an exporter. Before the break, Gideon, you're telling us about the importance of traceability. And I still want us to go back to traceability in terms of how do you trace that this produce came from a particular farm? Maybe you tell us how farmers package their produce for export. Do you mix with others, or for a particular, every farm has a way of packaging their own produce?
Okay, like I'll give an example on on our case, and this is what we normally do. We have traceability policy, and we have traceability procedure that we normally follow. And for the last, I think 7 years, in 2013, we had issues with our produce in Europe exceeding MRLs. So, and it was a backlash in our market. And we had a lot of losses, because now when you have products full of chemicals, the market went down in 2013. Then in 2015, we started coming back. That is when now the KEFIS, HITCD, which is Horticultural Crops Directorate, now came in force to force exporters to make sure that they are able to implement the traceability system fully. And what we normally do is that all our farmers, they are all coded. We have traceability codes for them. If it's Mr. Munyao, full name, and he's from Makueni in Mboni County, we have only codes for them. If it's 0 MB Louis Farm Mboni M1, that is a code. The code itself, from here, the government has all these codes from all the regions. That is KEFIS and HCD, and we have a copy of that. Now, this farmer, from the records, the harvesting, the planting record, the spraying record, and the scouting records, they're all coded. Okay, the harvesting starts maybe after 40 to 50 days, 45 to 50 days. That's where the traceability starts. It starts from the farm level, where Munyao LKLMB01A, that is the block code, because he might have like 7 blocks. So you have to make sure a specific block is tagged. Every harvest, every crate is tagged with a sticker with all the trace code, the region, and date, from the farm level. Now to the pack house. To the pack house, what we normally do is process each farmer. We don't just mix farmer A to farmer B, or we do each farmer per process. We finish with Mr. Munyao, it's done. Then all these, the trace code itself is still pinned in every punnet. Maybe it's 250 gram, it's 500 gram. The trace code is there. Then from the box, we have a trace code in the box. From here to Europe, in case of any problem, our product exceeding the MRL, it has pests, maybe in case of molds, we are able to trace. What happens is that the customer will just take a photo of the product. Date, it is here in the barcode sticker. Then we have the trace code and it sends back to me. So for our case, we are able to know it is this code, this farmer who is, So we are able to trace anything from the source, from the consumer back to the source. Okay. And that's why every exporter, the traceability system has to work.
Okay.
Yes.
So, for example, if a product gets to Europe, it's flagged either with a pest or exceeds the chemical residue that is required. What happened to it? What happens to that product that's already there? Is it sent back or?
No. And that's where now we count losses. If it exceeds MRL, what happened, it's the MRL testing. When they do analysis for the pesticides, it is the government. So once our product arrives at the destination, maybe it's in CDG in Paris, the government just picks random. This is Louis Farm shipment going for analysis. They hold, and nowadays they are testing 10% of the shipment. So if the shipment or the product exceeds the MRL levels, they dispose at your cost.
At the exporter's cost?
Yes, they won't pay and they can't pay. So you can imagine you have already paid you'll pay the flight. The whole shipment is completely damaged. They dispose everything, and they go to an extent or even charging you the disposal fee. So it's a loss on our side. But before that happens, that's why we have the trace code. So they will send you the exact codes, the traceability code that they did the testing. And what happened is that we have like 3 pallets. We have like maybe 10 farmers. They'll sample the 10% from all the 10 farmers. That's what they'll do the sampling for. And it takes less than 24 hours And like here in Kenya, it will take 10 to 14 days. So you're able to ship today, they hold the shipment, they do the test, the following day, you have the results. Okay. If they conform, then you're good.
So what happens to the other pallets?
They destroy everything. They may take like 2 shipments, they may take like maybe 2 farmers or 3 farmers. If the shipment exceeds the MRL levels, they destroy the whole shipment. It is not safe, you know. That's what they do.
Okay. So if they destroy everything, so what happens to the farmers who they have done everything correct? Do you still pay them?
Yes. You know, what happens is that these guys, when they're doing the testing on the other side, they're always actual in what they're doing. You know, it's to safeguard the market and to make sure you are doing the right thing still here on this side. So what happens is that as an exporter, we will go back to the farm. We will pay these farmers. You know, you have to consume that pain with you. But now you have to go back again, you know, to the farm and check where did we go wrong. And you're not going to the farm alone, because the KEFIs as a government will be on your neck. You know, one interception always flag the Kenyan market. So one interception, they won't wait for 10 interceptions. They'll just wait for one. And they don't even take 3 days nowadays. Previous years, we used to wait for 1 month. The client will tell you, okay, you had exceeded the MRL levels, so they wait for us if notification. Nowadays, it's 3 days too. After interception, the KFS is with you. We need to do the food safety audit. Where did you go wrong? So that's why now you see, if your records are okay, you'll be able to know which farmer did wrong. Or did we check the chemicals well? No. Did we harvest before the PHI? Yes. You know. So we need to be, that's why all these guys are always there on the ground. So, and as for KEFIs, when they come on board, they are friendly. Let me say the government is friendly, because if it were not for them, we wouldn't be having the market we have right now. You know, the Kenyan product is so competitive because of this government institution. They are playing their part well, and we are happy on our end, because they are keeping us on check. On our standards have improved because of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happens to the farmer?
For the farmer now, once we go back because of MRL issue, there's something you cannot control sometimes when it's raining, molds.
Okay.
Mold is not a big issue. Pest is not, sometimes it's not a big issue, it's something you can control. But when it comes to MRL, exceeding pesticide on the other side, the farmer has to take the blame. You can imagine, once you have all these, maybe your shipment has exceeded the MRL, a client will pause your market for a while. Maybe he'll give you 1 month, sort out your mess, then come back. One farmer will destroy a market of almost 10 tons in a week. Why? There are guidelines. We have TAs, we have sprayers. Why not do the right thing, you know? And sometimes it happens, let me cut you, it happens that some farmers, you know, there are those allowed chemicals. As an exporter, we have a list of allowed chemicals. Only for beans, only for snow peas, only for sugar snaps. But you see, these chemicals, some of them are not as active as the banned one, you know. So a farmer will just check, I have too much white flies. Okay, do the spray. The sprayers will come and spray today. Then maybe after 3 days, a farmer will just feel, okay, let me do something. You're not there. You know, you cannot be actually 100%. You have like 200 of them controlling. One will be at a miss somewhere.
Okay. So on this matter of MRL, and the farmer has to take the blame. But I also understand you said there are sprayers who goes to the farm
Yes.
to spray. So are you trying to say also farmers sometimes they want to,
Yes.
they think the sprayers will take too long and I may lose the crop, so they decide to spray themselves?
And yes, sometimes, farmers are tricky. We are farmers, and sometimes we tend to have those behaviors that, okay, it's too much area, the sprayers will be there. I spray today, then maybe the white flies, azijaisha, they have the knapsacks, and they know we are not allowed to use maybe this kind of a product, and they have them there, I'll give you a case. This happened. The reason sometimes why the Kenyan market is at 10% testing today has to do with something happened in Makueni County. We have these chemicals that are not allowed in beans that find their way into farmers' chemical stores.
Mm-hmm.
They do for them they have to spray the caterpillar, amazing caterpillar, these bollworms, they were everywhere in Kenya, you see. But sometimes why would a farmer go and buy or have this chemical thunder to go and spray a caterpillar and have a thin given for free?
Okay.
We come and spray thunder, and then after 2 days you have some caterpillars here and there, and say, okay, let me just spray. Orphan is not bad, but when it comes to beans, French beans, it's a banned product for the French beans. It's because of the active ingredient, which is the sumu yenye iko kwa hiyo dawa.
Okay.
Yes.
So with all these challenges and all these restrictions and things that farmers need to follow, plus you, do you give training to these farmers maybe as Louis Farm, as you contract them? Do you sit down with them and tell them, this is what we expect from you, and how long does this training take?
Actually, on our case, we do trainings 3 times a year, and mostly they cover safe use of chemicals. And 3 trainings a year covering all those 4 counties is not a joke. That is what our technical team do. Make sure the farmers have full information of this. As we have gone ahead even buying chemicals, like in Makueni, we buy our own chemicals. In Yata, we are okay in Machakos. We can be able to have those listed farmers and the agronomists on the other side and the TAs buying from contracted, where we have agreements with agrovets. We have like 2 agrovets in Machakos where they go and buy, But now in Makueni, we buy our own. The company buys its own chemicals, Yeah.
So going forward, what plans is Louis Farm having to ensure that they maintain their markets and they also improve efficiency of their farms or their farmers?
Okay, we have done this for the last 4 years. And why I believe it doesn't have to be a normal business. It has to be us as Louis Farm. We normally do a partnership. It's a partnership between the company and the farmer. Anything they do, anything we do, we involve them. That's why we have all these meetings every 3 months with them. Where is the problem? Where do you want us to improve? And that is the only way out for this market. And that's why we've been able to improve and have the standards that we have today.
Okay.
Yes.
So when we talk about alternative markets for export, what do we mean by all that?
We are 50 million Kenyans right now. And I'm sure everywhere you go right now in Kenya is full of food. The COVID thing has made a lot of guys from the urban to the rural.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's doing the garden, kitchen garden, home, pale. You have your own thing, you're farming. it is happening for the last 10 months. And I know you know this, that there's a lot of vegetables in Kenya right now. You can get anything you want. Why? Because we have realized we don't have to ship each and every kilo on the other side. Today, Kenyans are consuming a lot of French beans than last year. We have all this data on our side.
Okay.
You know, apart from the local market, then we have the African intra-Africa trade. Why don't we just embrace it right now?
Okay.
I had Djibouti market, which because of COVID, we had these issues. Before the COVID, I was having almost heading to Congo, DRC, for the same market. So why don't we trade between African countries? We have that chance, and it is there.
Okay. So African countries are also emerging as potential markets for these producers.
Yes.
Okay.
And trust you me, DRC will be my next market.
Okay.
From Djibouti.
So when all this is happening, there's something when it comes to exports called forms of payment. How do you pay your farmers, or what forms do farmers prefer to be paid, and how is it important?
Okay, payments. Actually, that is what even in all these meetings, farmers, it's always a top agenda when it comes to contract farming. Not even contract farming, any deal, business deal, because it is key. When you pay your farmers well, you'll be able to see the growth. Okay. I always tell my farmers, we start today, you have my contract today, then in 6 months, there is no growth, then you should stop. If you cannot buy even one goat within 6 months, why do it? You know, we have to check that growth from a farmer, and this comes if the payments flows. What we do is that we pay our farmers every harvest, advance payments, 50%. So if you're harvesting 100 kilos, I'll pay 50. Then the 50 goes for 1 month. The balance I'll pay the first 10th day, complete. But these payments depends on, you know, I told you, it's about the partnership between me and you as a farmer. You know, if a farmer has an issue, as a company, we always chip in.
Okay.
You know, it doesn't have to be actually at 50%. Some farmers tell you, okay, can you just pay me the whole amount? Maybe the kids are reopening schools. You cannot just keep their money because they have to wait maybe for 1 week or 2 weeks. You know, it has to be easy way. You know, and that's how we are able to manage all these farmers on our case of payments, making sure they are always on time. They have what they want. If they give us the product, we pay them in time. Yes.
Okay. We cannot talk about farming and we don't talk about the effects of climate change and global warming, especially for you contract farmers. How has climate change and global warming affected your businesses over this time?
Okay, one thing is
it a positive, or whether it's positive or negative?
Actually, it plays both ways, because like if it's on the other side market, you know, when Europe in summer, they have their own product. If this summer prolongs, then we lose the market, the peak season, it goes down. So it's a negative on our end, yes.
So what about the positives?
The positives is that you see the duration they are on winter. They take a lot and they consume a lot. It's only that we are feeling, the only effect that we are feeling more than even the global warming and everything is now Brexit, you know, because UK takes a lot to these markets, you know. Though it's not my market, I have not majored in that market, but I know there are some issues with the way they are dealing on the other side. And some of the exporters are still feeling that weight.
Okay. So going forward, what plans do Louis Farm have, either to improve the lives of their farmers or also to improve their exports? What are you looking at?
We need to expand. And expansion means if we do more and for the alternative markets. Like for us, we are looking on into Africa more than Europe and more than even Asia. We need to have this basket expanding for our farmers. Currently, we are doing over 200, 220. We need to have like 400. When you have good name, when you have good dealings with farmers, as you grow, they grow. And trust you me, we have done that, and they can attest that Louis Farm has given them a base and a stable market for their product.
Okay.
It's only we wish we can have more to export more.
Okay.
But
thank you very much, Gideon. That is all the time we had for today. It's been a very fruitful conversation and very enlightful also. And also thank you for sparing time to be with us.
Thank you.
I'm sure our viewers have learned a little bit something about contractual farming and how important it is, and also the challenges that comes with contractual farming. You break the contract, there are consequences. Yeah. That is it from Agri Talk today. Until next time, goodbye.